And welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports. I'm David Burnett, and I am joined by three illustrious gentlemen. Let me start with my regular panelist, Chuck Snow. How you doing, Chuck?
David, I am absolutely wonderful. Are you kidding me? We've got we've got the great Terry, the great Reggie. We got the NCAA tournament starting tomorrow. I love Wednesdays at 8:00. Happy hour.
All right, and you got your Indiana shirt on as well. Let me introduce Reggie Sanders, who was with us a couple of weeks ago. Reggie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, David. Thanks for inviting me back. Appreciate it.
No problem. And our new regular panelist, or soon to be regular panelist, we hope, Terry Reed from Indianapolis, Indiana, by way of Atlanta, Georgia. He grew up a couple of blocks away from me, and I am glad to have him on the show. Terry, how you doing?
On mute.
Okay, Terry, got to get you unmuted somehow. Let's see what we got.
On mute.
Okay, and we'll get Terry. Terry, we got a little bit of problem with your microphone. Okay, let's. All right. All right, we'll get Terry back in just a second. Okay, gentlemen, we'll add Terry Reed in just a minute, but let's talk about March Madness. We have got, okay, let me see if I can get Terry. Terry, can you hear us? We cannot hear you right now. For whatever reason, we cannot hear you. Something happened with your microphone. I'm going to pull you out, and hopefully we can get that corrected in just a second. Gentlemen, we've got March Madness really kicking off as of last night in Dayton, Ohio, tonight in Dayton, Ohio, and then the regular part of the March Madness begins tomorrow. Your thoughts about the tournament and what the tournament means. Let me start with you, Chuck. What does the tournament mean to you? You've been watching for many years, as all of us have. What does it mean to you?
I'm a little under the weather, David. I'll be calling in sick tomorrow. Hey, listen, man. March Madness is just absolutely unbelievable. It's the opportunity for, David to take on Goliath across the country. Everybody's excited. People are filling out brackets. Bets are being made. I'm telling you, at about 1:00 tomorrow, in offices across America, no, they'll be watching ball games. And that will go on for the next few days, David. It's just a great tournament that they run, that NCAA.
All right, let's go back to Terry Reed.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay,
Terry,
got it now. Okay.
You grew up a couple of blocks away from me. You're a couple of years older than I am. Yeah. But I remember you and your brothers, and, we'd play hoops and all of that stuff. Right. And play tennis and all of that. You are a Hoosier at heart, living in Atlanta now. I'm not going to hold that against you. But how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's fun to be here, and I'm going to enjoy the fellas tonight. How about that?
Hey, Terry, before we get started, though, can you answer a question for us? And Reggie and I are curious about this, too. Could David dunk a basketball back in the day?
That's what we want to know.
Dave could probably dunk a 10.5-foot ball. Dave could dunk. He hold on the rim.
We're asking about David Burnett. Is that
David could ball. David had a little pizzazz with his game too. He run in and dunk and hold on the rim. Yeah. Wow, David had great hops.
Terry,
folklore is true.
Pretty good.
Terry, check is in the mail.
He probably could have played for Ball State, probably.
Wow. Thank you so much.
A lot of guys couldn't dunk back then, but David could dunk. I remember. Probably when he was 16.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've been trying to tell these guys.
Yeah.
Tell them. Anyway, let me move on to Reggie. Reggie, your thoughts about March Madness. What does it mean to you?
Well, I tell you, always exciting. always exciting. I mean, it's an all day thing. Yes, it's definitely the biggest sick day in a year. No question about it. No question. I don't know a lot of the teams like I used to. North Carolina is not there, right? And
Right.
a couple of others. So I'm just looking forward to the competition. I've seen some of it. I'm looking forward to this guy Edie, this big dude. I'm looking forward to see how he's going to do in that. He looks like a robot, but David says he's effective, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. So just to see, and last year I thought was really exciting with the team from, was it New Jersey, that small school in New Jersey that got all the way to the quarters, I think it was.
St. Peter's.
I thought
St. Peter's.
What do they call? They had a nickname, didn't they?
I cannot recall what that nickname might be.
But it was
a very
St.
small
Peter's.
school.
And they beat Kentucky.
And they beat Kentucky.
They beat Kentucky. They beat a lot of people.
They knocked off Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. I got my bracket. This is what I call my sheet of integrity. I stole that from Mike Golick on Mike and Mike from many years ago. This is the sheet. I don't agree with my own sheet, but I had to be honest. Who's really going to win this thing? And I'll tell you later who I've got. But gentlemen, let me go around the panel and get a sense from you guys. Who are your teams that you're looking at that at this point? First of all, before this, when the weekend is over, there'll be 16 teams left. Right now, at the end of tonight, there are going to be 64. Who stands out on your sheet of integrity? And let me start with you, Reg.
Wow, that's a good one. I would say I want to look at Kentucky.
Okay.
I want to look at Kentucky. That one stands out for me. And let's see, I'm going to stop there for right now.
Okay. Chuck?
So the best team I saw live, kind of up close, was Arizona. So I'm interested to see how Arizona does. Yeah. I watched Memphis beat Houston the other day. And Memphis, I think, beat Houston twice this year, I think. They beat them once. They played them close once, and then they lost the third game. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that Memphis team. And, of course, I'm wearing the red, so I want to see how far my Hoosiers go.
Right. All right, and another Hoosier who also went to Indiana University like Chuck, Terry Reed.
Okay.
Who do you have at this point? We'll just start for the first 16. You don't have to tell us who your Final Four is, but who are you looking at this point? Who are you going to be looking at tomorrow and Friday?
Okay, I like Alabama with all the little things going on with them. They're the favorite to me. But I'm kind of picking Marquette because of remembering 03 and Dwayne Wade.
Wow.
I think they're going to be the spoiler. They're going to get Purdue. Sorry to say. But I can say that I went to IU. About that.
Well, there's a shot at Purdue. By the way, don't take too big a shot at Purdue. Two of my sisters are graduates of Purdue University, the fine esteemed university that it is.
Okay.
Let me just tell you what I got on my sheet. A team that obviously Alabama is going to look good for a while. They're not going to win it all. I think Texas is going to surprise some people.
Athletic as heck.
And Gonzaga, don't count out the Zags. Don't count them out. Okay, speaking of that, let me just go on and let me ask you guys, is there a team that nobody's really talking about giving a whole lot of credit this year that you are really behind and think that they could upset the brackets? And let me start with you, Terry. Is there a team that you think can upset the brackets?
I picked my main spoiler, like I said earlier, is I think Marquette's going to show up for some reason.
How come?
Just because they're kind of a dark horse, I guess, if you want to call it that. Just because of the heritage. I don't know. I just picked them. I like them. I've seen them play one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chuck, do you have a spoiler?
Well, I don't know. They're good. This College of Charleston is 31-3. They're a really, really, really good team. They have not played a lot of the bigger teams. They scrap. They've got a lot. I tell you what they've got. They've got a lot of older players. One thing about this portal, older players were able to, transfer and get that extra year, that grad year, and so forth. Keep an eye on the College of Charleston. They play. Who do they play? They end up they play San Diego State first. If they beat San Diego State, they got to play Alabama. Watch out for the College of Charleston.
Okay. Reggie, is there a spoiler in your mind in this tournament? There always is every single year.
Memphis, Penny Hardaway, possibly.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of talk about him. And of course, I think that, like you said, though, I think the team to watch is Alabama, though, because that's going to be controversial and exciting. So,
and they still haven't resolved that controversy either.
It's a tough one,
and that's a concern too.
It's a lot of stuff swirling around. It's a lot of stuff swirling around that team, and it's one thing keeping it contained within the SEC, but now they're going to be open to national scrutiny. It'll be interesting to see how they manage that, handle that, and the players. And
well, let me ask you guys this: how much does controversy and a potential scandal impact the psyche of a team and its momentum? And Chuck, just continue on that point.
So let me tell you, like, one of my favorite coaches of all time, and obviously favorite teams of all time back in the day, was Georgetown. And John Thompson used to create an aura. I know these are circumstances that are different, an aura of us against them. Kind of a paranoia. Lock these guys up. I got my team away. I don't want the media to be near them. They're trying to get you. And that banded them together, and they played harder and tougher because they thought the world was after them, so to speak. And so I think maybe Alabama could take that path, and maybe it'll happen that way. I don't know.
But there are going to be some fans that are going to really point a finger at Brandon Miller, the star of Alabama and an All-American. He's going to be under a great deal of pressure.
Right.
And Terry, what do you think about that?
I think it could be a concern, but I don't know. He's weathered the storm so far. I think it's not going to let him affect him, but it does. It's got to be in their mind, their psyche.
Yeah.
They just announced today.
Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
They announced today he's been assigned security. Because he's been getting some death threats and some really negative stuff through social media and through the mail and so forth. So they've assigned him a security person to follow him throughout the tournament.
Reggie, take that point on. And with added security for one player, obviously intruding on the team itself, how much do you think that will affect Alabama, even though they're odds-on favorite to be possibly winning the tournament?
Well, this dude, I think it's a good thing for him personally. When he gets on the court, though, he just hits the light switch. You see a young guy like that under all that kind of pressure, like you said, Terry, it's a lot of pressure. But it's also very controversial. Each time they win, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
The scrutiny is going to get worse because now you're hearing the announcers starting to talk about it a little bit. I feel for him and his family. I just, hope he can get through it. But he seems like a very confident, strong dude,
Okay.
Big time.
So I think
all right. Well, let me ask you guys this, and this is also a tournament question, and I'm going to get right down to it. The Final Four. Now, that's a couple of weeks away from now. The Final Four in Houston, Texas, of all places. Who is going to be using your sheet of integrity? And I know, Reg, you didn't bring your sheet with you. That's okay.
It's on my iPad. It's on my iPad. I got you. Go ahead.
Everybody, give your Final Four and your champion if you want to give it at this point. Let me start with you, Terry. Who's your Final Four?
My Final Four is Alabama and my spoiler, Marquette, beating Purdue. Sorry, David. Texas and Kansas. The championship game is going to be Alabama and Texas, and Alabama's going to win it.
Okay. Chuck, who you got?
Those weren't bad, Terry, but that's not the winning sheet. The winning sheet is Arizona is playing Arizona's playing Marquette in the one half of the bracket, and Indiana will be playing Kansas in the other half of the bracket. Kansas will be playing Arizona for the finals. And can I go ahead and say it, David?
Yes.
Arizona will win the national championship.
I'm going to tell Mike Woodson you said that.
I know.
I'd like to see Indiana, but I don't think if they get to the Elite Eight, that he's got a good team. They just need to close them.
Who do you have, Reggie? And then I'll tell you who I got.
I think secretly, if Alabama can pull that thing off, I think it'll happen. It'll be the most watched Final Four ever, and championship game ever. I think it will be, and most competitive.
There's a lot of people.
I know
a lot to beat out Indiana State, Michigan State from 1979. Let me give you my Final Four. Now, again, this is not the Final Four that I want, because it's completely opposed to where I actually want the teams.
Is this from Miss Cleo or no?
What's that?
Is this from Miss Cleo, or did you make this
fortune teller? He went to his fortune teller, Reggie.
It could be. It could be. I got Texas.
Athletic as heck.
Texas playing Kansas.
They're good.
That's a big game.
And I got Duke playing Arizona.
The hottest team in the tournament. Duke is.
Hottest team in the tournament. And I don't like Duke. Never have liked Duke. I don't want them to be there, because that means they will have beaten Purdue.
That's right.
Arizona against Duke. I got Duke beating Arizona. Texas against Kansas. I got Texas beating Kansas. Duke against Texas. And guess what? Coach K ain't there, but it doesn't matter. Duke will win the national championship, according to this sheet.
Wow.
Now, my other sheets don't have Duke. I don't want this to happen. I do not want this to happen.
Well, you're on record now. You're on record now, Dave.
Well, I'm on record, but I don't want it to happen. My other sheets have other teams. I got Purdue winning. But if I'm being fair and being unbiased, I think Duke is playing the most consistent basketball, and it's the hottest team in college basketball right now.
Yeah,
and it'd be something if Coach K's replacement wins a national championship the year after he retires. That would be pretty powerful.
Alabama's playing well and played well. Alabama's played well all year, and they're good. But you're right, David. Texas, they just beat the pants off of Kansas. They beat Kansas twice this year, quite frankly. Duke is the hottest team in the country, and Arizona's playing well. So the teams that you mentioned, you didn't go out on the limb. Those are good teams that are playing really well right now.
David,
since you like Purdue, I got Purdue beating Duke.
I want Purdue to beat Duke. You don't know. I want, that's as a kid, that was my favorite team. Rick Mount.
Purdue?
Yeah. Purdue. Best shooter I ever saw was Rick Mount.
To this day.
Wow. To this day. Wow. He was
unbelievable.
In
Indiana. Yeah.
If they had a 3-point line back in the 60s and early 70s, Rick Mount would have averaged 40 points a game.
He had hops too. I think he's back in Lebanon.
He was the first high school player to ever be on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
This is a fact. A lot of things in Indiana, by the way. Just wanted you to know. Yeah. You know I'm an advocate of the state. Let me ask you guys this. All right. Now, real quickly, let's talk about the All-America team. There's one player.
And you alluded to that. You alluded to that Magic and Bird game in '79. what a time for the two of them, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a hell of a game.
Well,
Hell of a game.
Yeah. I still remember that game.
Well, before we talk about the All-American game, let's you brought that up, Chuck, and you just jogged my memory. Which Final Four stands out in your memory as the most favorite Final Four that you watched while you were growing up or as an adult? Which is your favorite? Let me start with you, Reggie. You go. Is there a Final Four that stands out to you?
Dog, man, that's a good one. I would say, were you talking about the championship game or just starting at the Final Four?
Just the Final Four or the championship game, but it's try to be consistent with the same year.
Sure. I'm looking back. I remember the first time I saw Magic Johnson play was in the Final Four. And Bird. I thought that was exciting. All of the Dukes with Johnny Dawkins here in this area, grew up not too far from me, played at the great Luzon courts up there. So I think those two stand out.
Grant Hill.
Grant Hill, Chris Webber, and all those guys, that kind of thing. I think those are pretty good ones.
All right. Chuck, is there a Final Four in your memory that really stands out to you, your favorite one? Is he frozen?
No, he's listening. He's thinking.
What you got, Chuck?
While Terry thinks about that in terms of his Final Four, I tell you what, again, as an Indiana graduate, that 1976 Indiana team that went undefeated, with Quinn Buckner and Scott May and Kent Benson and Bobby Wilkerson and Tommy Abernathy. That was a special team. They beat Michigan 3 times that year.
Big Ten final. They beat Ricky
Michigan against Indiana.
79-76. Yep.
Was that which one was Keith Smart? Was it Keith Smart?
That was 87.
87.
Okay.
That was 87.
They beat Syracuse on the last shot.
But I'm gonna let you know the better team was the 74-75 team with Steve Green and Laskowski. They lost one game to Kentucky in the
if Scott May hadn't broke his arm.
Scott May broke his arm.
Wow.
They beat them.
Wow.
And Mike Glenn and Greedy were on Kentucky. Because Bobby Knight rubbed their head because we always played Kentucky before the Big Ten, and we beat them. Good game, boys. We're not your boy. Mike Glenn was Mr. Basketball from Jefferson. Yeah, we're not your boy. But they lost one game in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a great team. Yeah. That was a great team.
But
I got to tell you,
you guys are really taking me down in memory lane.
Yeah,
that Duke Las Vegas, when Las Vegas had Larry Johnson and Duke had that time frame was really good.
Yeah.
Of course, Patrick Ewing, and Michael Jordan his freshman year when he banks the shot off the backboard and they beat Georgetown off the glass. I mean, Georgetown was in 3 straight finals, and there's some great NCAA tournament memories.
Villanova Georgetown was great.
Oh my God, what a game!
I watched that at Georgetown. Actually, they had a gym open for everybody to come down and watch.
Yeah,
Pinckney played for Villanova, right?
Oh,
they won.
He did. Ed Pinckney.
Right.
That was the last year before they instituted the shot clock.
Was that Raleigh Massimino?
It was.
Wow,
it was.
Now I got to tell you who my favorite Final Four was. Phi Slamma Jamma.
Oh my God, Houston.
1983, that particular Final Four, Houston and Louisville.
Yep.
Dunk after dunk after dunk after dunk.
Yep.
And then to see Houston get beat by North Carolina State.
Yep. On a final shot.
Oh my God.
Now Vano's still looking for somebody to hug, right? As he runs around.
Right.
Looking crazy. But that's my all-time favorite.
Great, man. Great.
Was it a better quality of basketball?
David, that team that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't think so because I think the athletes get better and better every year, and we're talking about the 80s or whatever. But that game that Davis is alluding to, Sidney Lowe and Wittenberg, the two guards that played for NC State, are from D.C. They played at DeMatha High School.
Right.
Now that was just.
But I don't think so.
That was a spectacular game. That should have been the final. That should have been the final.
Who was the star in Louisville? Was that Griffin or whatever it was, the dunk machine?
No, Griffin was 1980.
I think it was the McRae boys.
McRae brothers.
Yes,
and Scooter.
McRae.
Louisville, yeah.
Scooter McRae.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Scooter McRae. All right, real quickly before we move on from college basketball, don't necessarily need the Final Four for ladies basketball, but let me just ask this question to the panel: Is the South Carolina Lady Gamecocks, going to win again, and will they stay undefeated? Let me start with you, Reg.
100%. No question. In fact, I'm going to get a sweatshirt as soon as I can. I think she's the highest paid coach. I think she's now the highest paid
Staley, one of the highest paid coaches in college.
He's getting all the recruits to the smallest town in the country, off of 26 down there in South Carolina, and they play ball. I mean, when I saw UConn come down, and everybody said, "Well, UConn's going to no, they can't run with those girls. They can't run with them."
Well, they were injured. UConn. I mean, I agree with you, Reg. UConn didn't have Paige Becker, and they didn't have Fudd. But I don't know that it would matter. I think that South Carolina team,
South Carolina is a juggernaut.
It's a beast.
Let me ask you, Reg. Not Reg. Let me ask you, Terry.
I got South Carolina the winner too, but guess who they're going to play in the Final Four?
Who are they going to play?
Indiana. Indiana's going to sneak up there. They got a good team.
Indiana was number 2 for a long time.
Indiana's going to make it kind of far.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that.
And not because I went to Indiana or either you, Reggie, but they got a good team. Purdue's got a good team too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all got
Chuck, who do you got?
I like South Carolina, obviously. They're just really strong. Right. But, I think Gino made a comment about I didn't think it was a positive comment either. He made a comment about how South Carolina doesn't play. I didn't like that. I didn't think that was cool at all.
No.
Well, let put yourself in the mind of Gino Auriemma. And I think part of the thing is he sees that his juggernaut of many, many years of championships at Connecticut has been upset.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have Pat Summitt to beat up anymore. Now he's got to beat up Dawn Staley if he can. And South Carolina is just better right now. And I think he was just getting into, as disrespectful as it may seem, I think it was a way of him getting into the head of South Carolina and Dawn Staley. That's what I think.
What do they say? What do the young folks say now, David? He don't want that smoke.
You don't want that smoke.
Because she keeps them prepared. She does not let up on any of them.
She is something else. I got to figure South Carolina is going to win it again.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
She's from inner city Philadelphia, and she's a proud UVA graduate, and she's tough as nails.
And a great point guard.
Yeah,
and a great point guard. Real quickly on women's college basketball. Is women's college basketball bigger today than in the heyday of Tennessee and Connecticut in the 90s and early 2000s?
You're talking about Lobo and them, huh?
Uh-huh. Is it bigger today? And let me ask you, Terry. Let me start with you, Terry.
I think there's more parity. UConn used to be a force in Tennessee,
right?
But you got parity. You got some other teams that came up. Right. Even the Big Ten has gotten better. Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck.
I think across the board there's parity, and it's somewhat better.
Yeah.
Okay. Chuck, what do you think?
I agree, and I think because of TV stations like ESPN and CBS and Fox and all those things, the Big Ten Network and ACC Network, they get a lot of exposure, and the ladies got NIL deals too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one of the best games, girls, ladies, or men this year that I saw, again, was Indiana and Iowa. Iowa beat us. This lady, Caitlin, who plays for Iowa, who's a tough little lady. She hit a big jumper against us at the buzzer. And that was one heck of a game. They beat us 83-81, and it was a great game to watch.
All right. That's
I
it.
think it's better.
Real
I think
quickly.
it's better, David. To answer your question.
Real quickly, I think it's bigger and better now. If Indiana University women can sell out Assembly Hall with 17,000 fans. Now, keep in mind, back in the 80s and 90s, ladies basketball at Indiana University was not even anywhere close to that, and most of the schools weren't even close to that. But you see sellouts now.
Right.
You see sellouts. South Carolina is selling out every single game. I think it's bigger than it ever was. In fact, ladies college basketball is way bigger than the WNBA.
Well, yeah. In a way.
You know what? That's a good point, David. I mean, I was just thinking about that because it doesn't transfer over to them. So it may be the product of the WNBA is the problem, because at the college arenas, it's standing room only for South Carolina. And people are going nuts over it. Men and women, by the way. It's not just it's men and women. But
absolutely.
And Dawn is huge, and she's making
David,
money.
But early
you said Dawn Step.
Early on when the WNBA started, like the Cynthia Coopers, college wasn't even thought of, but it's kind of got in the background now.
Right. What were you going to say, Chuck?
Yeah. Reggie alluded to the fact that Dawn Staley was the highest paid lady in college basketball. She might be the highest paid lady in pro or college basketball.
She's the highest paid coach in the WNBA, just topped $1 million. Dawn Staley makes 3 times more money than that. All right.
Question, David. Can I ask, was when Cynthia Cooper and those guys playing back then, were they the better WNBA players?
Yeah,
I love Cynthia Cooper. I thought she was one of the best female players I've ever seen.
She's a bad girl.
I watched him WNBA back then. I can't watch it now so much.
Cynthia Cooper,
I think the ladies take a step back once they go pro. That's one of the reasons why the young lady got caught up in Russia. You make $1.5 million in Russia, and you turn around and go to the WNBA, and the most you can make is $225,000.
Right.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the most a player can make. All right, let's move on.
But that ain't bad for 6 months.
I tell you what, I would take that.
I played for 50.
I'll be your point guard. I'll be your point guard down there.
All right, let's quickly have a NBA update real quick. 1 month to go before the playoffs. 1 month, that's all. As soon as March Madness is over, the NBA will take over. Who is the best team right now? I'm thinking in the West, I'm going with Sacramento. How about you guys? Reg, I'm gonna ask you first.
No, don't put me over there.
No, I want your response.
Let me just say this, David, real quick. I've never seen a pro team in a long time, I would say, play faster than the Kings. They are very well coached. They have all of Calipari's players on that daggone team, those guards. The Lakers should have never let Monk go. He is amazing. And I give Mike Brown, who LeBron James got fired in his first team in the league, but I think he's a great coach.
All right, Chuck.
Well, that's a good question.
Best in the West.
That's a good question for the best in the West right now, because Denver just lost 4 in a row. Sac is playing well. I think I might ride with you guys. I might go with Sacramento, although in my heart, I don't think they're going to come out of the West.
And that's because they're Sacramento. Come on, be honest.
Right.
Oh, I didn't say they're going to win. I'm thinking the Warriors are going to win, but I would say I love how they play.
Warriors.
Yeah, I got the Warriors winning again.
What you drinking?
I got a bottle of water here.
All right, Terry, who you got in the West?
Okay. Denver's to a degree, but I don't think so. I think Phoenix is overdue with Garnett. I like Sacramento too, but I think if Phoenix plays this game, they can come out of the West. I think.
Okay.
You got to get them back on the floor.
Sacramento.
True.
I'm just pushing Sacramento. I want Sacramento because, Sacramento is the equivalent of a Midwestern flyover city. Nobody gives a damn about Sacramento. It's the capital of California.
Sure
a lot of people don't seem to realize that.
Right.
The power of California is in Sacramento, and I think the power of the NBA West is right now in Sacramento. So,
our show recaps a week in sports. David, one of the best games in the NBA this week was Sacramento and the Milwaukee Bucks. It was a heck of a game, and even though it was
also against the Knicks,
right, that was a good game as well. They beat the Knicks, and they came up short to the Bucks, and the Bucks must fear them because there was a fight at the end of that game because Giannis was dribbling the ball in front of the guy. And that guy didn't like it.
I agree.
Well, let me ask you guys this real quickly on the NBA. And then we got to move on to a couple other questions. If it is Sacramento out of the West, which a lot of people think would be a death for the NBA, and it is Milwaukee, two flyover cities, two small market cities in the NBA Finals. How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable? Terry, with Sacramento possibly and Milwaukee in an NBA Finals?
Yeah, I can go with that. Sure. Yeah. It'd be something new and refreshing to see. Yeah.
Amen. Reggie.
Any team, as long as it's not Embiid, I'm happy. I'm very.
But you don't like Philly, man.
Need of Boston. I'm protesting Boston because of Udoka, but I think
he did it to himself.
I tell you, man. I know. But I don't think the Kings are ready yet. But I like their chances. They're going to disrupt some people, much like the Knicks will in the beginning.
Okay.
They play very fast basketball, very fast.
Chuck.
David, people used to watch San Antonio. I mean, because I believe one thing about that NBA, it's the best of seven. The best teams get to the final. I mean, they earn it. I believe in earning it, right? And when San Antonio was good for years, they were intriguing, and I was watching those finals as well. So I'm okay with that.
I guess my problem with all of that is, and I agree with you guys, is that the NBA has created its own problem. They don't market. And right now, the marketing machine needs to be on Sacramento because it's possible that Sacramento will be in the finals. And they need to be on Milwaukee. Because if it was reversed and it's the NFL doesn't care what market you come from.
That's right.
Yeah, you were watching, but you hear all the chatter in the media and everywhere else. If it's not the Lakers, if it's not Boston, if it's not the Knicks, if it's not certain teams, they allegedly nobody will watch, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm rooting for Sacramento to get to the finals. I would love to see that, and I want to see how the NBA handles it. All right, gentlemen, last question on the NBA involves Ja Morant. He was suspended 8 games by the NBA. The commissioner, Adam Silver, has suspended him for 8 games, which includes the games he's already missed. What's going on? Is it a fair thing, keeping in mind that there were no criminal charges filed against Ja Morant for the incident in Colorado where he brandished a gun or at least what looked like a gun? Reggie, I'm going to start with you.
I heard late today that it was a friend's gun or somebody else gave him the gun or something like that. But if you're carrying a gun on a plane, that's illegal. And so I don't know what they did, but he should be the luckiest man on the earth. That's all I can say. If he got that done. that's all I can say about it. I mean, he's very, very, very fortunate, because I think the NBA probably said, look, we're going to lose our half our audience if we don't have this guy on the courts at some point in terms of Memphis. So I wish him well. You've seen a lot of this. It just should not be normal for the guys to go through something like that and, be able to just keep going without any kind of penalty. But
all
he's a young
right,
dude.
Terry.
I think it's like a lot of people when you drink. I think it's a good lesson for him, and he'll be fine. But I think he was a little tipsy, clowning, and I think he fails to realize who he is and his star power, and he's got to act a certain way. And he was just being foolish, and it's a good lesson. He'll get past it.
I hope so.
I think at 8 games is kind of severe. I could see 4 or 5 maybe. Yeah, but he'll be okay.
Chuck.
I pray that he gets it together. I pray that it's a wake-up call. He shouldn't stay in that rehab center too long, which I find interesting.
About 6
I think
hours.
that I think the penalty is fair. I just really, more than anything, I just hope it's a wake-up call and he gets his act together for a lot of reasons, but most importantly for him, for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Real
quickly, let's do real quick on the NBA, NFL deals and signings, and we'll just pick one player to talk about because we're running out of time. Aaron Rodgers today indicated that he is going to the Jets. They still got to work out the details. Do we care about Aaron Rodgers after almost 20 years in Green Bay, leaving the Green Bay Packers to go up? To be honest with you, I'm tired of him, but I want to hear what you guys think. Terry, let me start with you.
I think he's leaving because he really didn't listen to the coach. He disrespected the coach several times. It doesn't really matter what he does. He's won his championships. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. And he's not a Brady, but, he's one of my favorite guys as far as a quarterback because he'll get to done. He'll beat you. So he's just at the end of his career, seeing what he can do. The Jets are on an upswing, so maybe he can help them out a couple of years. So it's no biggie to me.
I'm not a Jets, Jets aren't my team. My team are obviously the Commanders, but the reality is good for the Jets. They say they've been missing a quarterback. They're getting ready to get a great quarterback. I know he might be going a little far with the leverage thing because I think he's given them a list of demands in terms of what players he would like for the Jets to sign. And the Jets went and signed one of those receivers. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're a Jets fan, this is a good move for you. And if you're a Packer fan, you better hope Jordan Love can play.
I think he can play. And Reggie.
Yeah, I agree, Chuck. I mean, he does this every so often and shows up. I mean, he's not a prima donna, but he asks for a lot of different things. I want him to win. I like to see some parity around the league. I like to see the Jets win, look better and win. Now, look, my thing about Aaron is he's a gunslinger. He don't start playing until about late in the third quarter, and then he started going. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I would mention this, David. Heineke going down to Atlanta is an exciting part of it. You're probably going to say this anyway. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Heineke going to Atlanta is a pretty good move for him.
We have 2 Dallas fans on our panel tonight, David. So we have to mention that their Dallas Cowboys let go late today. Ezekiel
Elliott.
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't know that. Where'd he go?
Yeah.
He's been let go.
That other back was playing better than him. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? Number 2.
Pollard.
Yeah,
Pollard.
Pollard was getting it.
Exactly. Yeah.
They gave him
that's just an indication of what the value of an NFL running back is these days, and it's not much. It's not much.
I would have done a package deal. Would take Dak too, send him on up somewhere else, and go get Lamar or something like that.
I hear you. Next week, we'll talk more about NFL deals and signings because we'll have more of a fleshing out. Today was kind of a starting point, and we're going to find out about Lamar Jackson. We'll find out whether Zeke Elliott has found himself a new team and other things. At this point, gentlemen, do we have any closing comments as we head out and conclude this show? Let me start with you. Chuck.
So, first of all, I want to thank Reggie and Terry to join us tonight. They were great and they added to the show. So we do appreciate you guys taking the time to join us. So thank you there.
Thank you.
And my closing comment is, and I've alluded to it earlier, man, I'm telling you, this is my Christmas. March Madness is exciting. And it's interesting because this year, no North Carolina, no Villanova, no Louisville. Georgetown back in the 80s, we were talking about that. They're not there. Indiana's back in. Izzo, he's back there again. The reason I bring all of this up is that people talk about these schools and these institutions. I want to make a point. It's the coaches. I think coaches matter. I think great coaches, they go to play somebody like a Patino. He's at Iona, and he's in the tournament. So wherever he goes, they win. So I believe that coaching matters. Those coaches that had their teams in the tournament this year are great. Those coaches that were at those previous institutions that are falling aside a little bit right now, they're not as good. It's not the institution, it's the coaches. So shout out to those great coaches and good luck to a wonderful tournament. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, Reggie or Terry, you got closing comments?
Reggie?
Okay, I would say I agree with everything you just said. And the thing I like about it is that the suits are back. Patino, the guy that, those guys, man, they wore some of the baddest suits in America, the sidelines, but they could coach. They could coach. And, I just want to see coaching back again, really good games coming down to the wire and guys figuring it out. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to miss the guy up in Syracuse leaving, and the fights he used to have with John Thompson. I thought that was pretty good. And I just want to see some really, really, really good basketball, really, really good basketball, because I don't think I see that much in the pros. So college basketball is something I look forward to.
Terry?
Okay. My closing comments, I'm just going to say, go Hoosiers. I hope they do Mike right. And,
all righty.
I hope they get at least the Elite Eight. Okay. And all the big man for Purdue, the College Player of the Year, Edey, if he spent a summer with what's the big guy for Denver and get some of them moves like Vlade, he'll be good. Like Vlade. If he gets him a move to the bucket, a little spin, he'll be good.
You talking about Edey?
Edey, yeah.
Okay.
He's a horse.
That takes into account the closing comment that I wanted to make, because I want to talk about Zach Edey.
Yeah.
I was wrong about this guy.
I was.
Zach Edey is going to be the College Player of the Year. He was unanimously selected to the All-American team from the Associated Press. Last year, he's only played basketball for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he could barely walk and chew gum at the same time, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And now he is unanimously All-American and will be the College Player of the Year.
Wow.
If he continues on this trajectory, there's no telling what he could be, because this isn't the end. He's not Lurch. I called him Lurch. I thought nothing of him. I called him Lurch because that's what he was.
Right.
Now he's got a shot. He's got a dependable shot. Nobody can stop him. And if Purdue has a chance to win the national championship, it'll be because of the guy who couldn't walk and chew gum a year ago. Yeah. Right on, Zach Edey.
I said the same thing, David. I said, there's no way this guy gonna make it in the pro, but he gets better every single
He's literally gotten better.
He needs to be a little more aggressive and get some moves. He'll be fine.
If he gets aggressive and get some, he needs to spend some time with Shaq.
Yeah.
Spend some time with Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Olajuwon, yeah.
Spend some time
or
with
bring Moses Malone back.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we have to bring him up out of the grave.
Yeah, okay.
Is he a number one pick,
like,
Dave?
okay, I got you. Yeah.
Is he a number one pick? Is he the number one pick?
No, he's not. But next year he could be.
Okay.
If he can just become Mark Eaton.
Yes, Mark Eaton.
Because they're the same size. Mark Eaton was 7'4", 300 pounds.
Right.
And Zach Edey is 7'4", 300 pounds. Same thing.
He's a hell of a college player. He is a hell.
What is?
Oh, he's tremendous.
Indiana
player.
beat
Tremendous player.
Indiana beat them twice.
Who's the number one pick though?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's going to be our last word for the show. And thanks, gentlemen. Reggie, thanks for coming back. Terry Reed, my man from the Golden Ghetto.
From the Golden Ghetto. Yeah.
All right. Good to, so much good to see you.
Hey, Terry, you have to. Hey, Terry, you have to send us some video. If he can dunk, you got to send us some video.
Yeah, you got to send that video
send it to Reggie and
I don't even think they had VCRs then. How about that?
They did.
Believe me.
They did.
Hey, Dave could play some ball. He could. Believe me.
Thank you very much, Terry.
He could.
Checks in
and
the
I
mail.
enjoyed the fellas, and I hope I get to do it again.
All right,
you
man.
will.
Okay.
You
Appreciate it. Have a good evening, sir.
All right.
Talk to you.